νομίζω κάνει φοβερή δουλειά στην Ομόνοια.
And we call taxi, and with Kilian I open the door behind, I put him in the taxi, and I close the door, and I want to go inside, and Kilian go out.
You're gonna get someone messaging you afterwards saying, "Why did you mention me?"
Hey, fuck.
She say, I cry because you are here today.
Πάμε σιλακά μου φτιάχνω, αμπρεγά μου τα μέσα.
Edo, welcome to another edition of No Choftes. Bloody hell, how many have we done this week? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we've done 5 this week. So, well, this one came left field again. We know that our transfer activity has been very quiet. Not the way that we wanted it to be. We wanted all the deals to be done by now, before Poland, to be honest. But we've got another deal over the line. I'm guessing we have, because nothing's been officially announced. You know, I know it's been on the Instagram, but we saw what happened last time. Has he signed the contract? Well, his name is Roman Bezus. Not Roman Jesus. Jesus was killed by the Romans. Bezus. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. So yeah, an attacking midfielder, Ukrainian international. And I'm not going to lie, I don't know anything about him. I know absolutely nothing about him. I haven't got a clue about his statistics, how many caps he's got. I haven't bothered looking at it. And the reason why is because I've got a guest coming on. Andrew is a Ukraine football expert. He's done work for the BBC, for Sky Sports. I've known him for many years. And Andrew's rise has been absolutely astronomical. You know, he started off doing podcasts and slowly he was getting notoriety. Slowly he was getting a few little cameos here and there. And then Ukraine qualified for the Euros. In fact, it was the World Cup, I think it was, when he started becoming more and more up there. And he'll be jumping on when he's ready to tell us more about this player. But here comes negative Stel. I've got no problem with the player. Don't know him, as I said. Don't know anything about him. I've seen a few YouTube clips. But if the powers that be think that this signing is going to shut us up, it's not going to happen. You know when you see a baby and they're crying, and the mum or the dad or the guardian or whoever puts a little dummy in their mouth, pacifies them. That's why it's called a pacifier. After a while, baby gets bored and spits it out. Well, if they think that this is the dummy that's going to be shut in our mouths so that we can stop talking and stop talking about Medagrafes, I'm sorry. This isn't enough. Let's get this one right. So they can do their little welcome video and take all of those little screenshots of all the comments on Facebook saying Medagrafes, all that kind of stuff, and throw it in our faces to say, hey, you know, you wanted Medagrafes, here's a signing. It's not enough. It's not enough. You can try all the sense of humor and the passive aggressive behavior. Doesn't cut it with me. I ain't stupid. I ain't fucking falling for it. Okay? Bottom line is we still need a number 9. We still need a left back, and we still need a winger. Well, in fact, we probably need a fucking number 8 as well. So, you know, at the end of the day, you can make all the announcement videos. So, number 1, unless he signed the fucking papers, I ain't believing it. And number 2, unless he's holding that shirt to say I'm an Omonoia player, I ain't believing it. And number 3, you better start bringing in some more players. And I know people are going to be watching this and saying, putting on their little Facebook statuses, there are people that do podcasts that talk about our players and talk about the owner, and the owner's done so much for us, and they're so ungrateful. Do you know where we were before the owner came? Yeah, I know who's watching, and I know who's been saying these things. And if you want to indirect, do your indirects. Yeah, but you know where I am. You know who I am. So you can slide in my DMs and say that to me personally, yeah? If you got a problem. Anyway, here's Andrew, my good friend Andrew. How you doing, mate? Welcome to the show. How's things?
Hi, Stel. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to chatting a bit about the new Ukrainian signing.
Yeah, mate, I'll tell you what. I know nothing about the lad, and I absolutely nothing about him. But I'm sure you're going to tell us all about him. First of all, before we go into that, thank you for jumping on at such short notice. I know you're really busy, and it's been a tricky time for you and your family. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. First of all, how are you? How's the family coping, especially with what's going on in your country?
Yeah, thanks. First of all. Well, I mean, we're coping okay. Luckily, the majority of us, well, the majority of my family live in London, and we've been living there for a long time. Got a grandmother over in Ukraine, but she's relatively in a safe place in the west of the country, so she's not really sort of been impacted directly by the war, to say the least. And then obviously it's more about friends that I've got, a lot of them in obviously football, media, and all that kind of stuff, and just in general, other friends there as well. Luckily for the ones that I'm close to, no one's been, affected by the fact that someone in their direct family or anything like that's been killed or hurt or anything. But a lot of them have gone to fight on the front lines. A lot of them have been involved in like humanitarian stuff and all that kind of thing. So they've been adapting to the new life. And obviously they've not been allowed to leave the country. It's difficult to get in as well. So I've not been there yet, but hopefully I will be over the next maybe few weeks or months, trying to see what's going on. And yeah, just all we can do is just carry on fighting, really, because there's not much choice.
Absolutely, man. Fingers crossed that it all ends soon. And I don't know what to say, man. I mean, Cyprus went through that in '74, and the island's never been the same. But you guys have been constantly pelted by the Russians. So yeah, I don't know when it's going to end. But anyway, I wish you guys well. And again, thank you for jumping on at such short notice. So let's talk about this player then, because as I said before, I don't know too much about him. Now, in case you didn't know, Andrew, a lot of our supporters are quite impatient. And I've become one of those impatient fans. I said at the beginning of the season, we need new signings. We brought in 4 decent players. And while various positions have been filled, we were still looking for a number 10, an attacking midfielder, that player that can play behind the front man, just in front of the 2 central midfielders, that can create, that can get goals, that can offer a lot. Tell us about this player, mate.
Yeah, so Roman Bezus, on the front of it, does all of those things that you mentioned there. He's a bit of he's definitely a number 10. Likes playing in and around the box a lot. Comes into the box on occasion, to either finish off chances or just lurking around to give that final pass in. And he's a very experienced player. You're getting, I wouldn't say a veteran, but a seasoned professional, that's got loads of caps in European football. Been playing in the Europa League, been playing in the Conference League, been playing for Ukraine internationally over the past, 10 years or so. So he's everything I think that you guys will probably want. I just hope that he can hit the ground running sort of as soon as possible, because he was a free agent since obviously the start of the summer when he left Ghent. I'm not sure. He's obviously not been training with a team or playing any preseason friendlies or anything like that yet. So just need to get him up to pace, and I think he should be okay. And obviously, as is always the case with random transfers like these, I wasn't surprised that he moved to Cyprus, because there is a lot of linkage between a lot of Ukrainian agents and Cyprus and all this kind of stuff. But I thought maybe somewhere like Hungary or even like a Ukraine comeback might be there. So I was slightly, it was a bit of like a different move. But, the fact that you guys especially are more or less guaranteed European football this year, I think that's definitely what swayed him with that. And I'm sure that with the title challenge that you'll be putting him to, he'll be very much up for it.
So you mentioned earlier in WhatsApp that he had an offer from another club and then he changed his mind, or he received another offer. Do you know much about the offers that he received from other clubs, if there were?
So as far as I'm aware, basically there was meant to be some sort of his agency was meant to announce that he was going to be signing for whatever new club it was at 8 p.m. last night, like via Telegram, via the agency's Telegram channel. And then it said, sorry, we've got a bit of a delay and it will be tomorrow. So, and then it was like, there's been another proposition. So we'll let you know once we found out. Evidently, no idea who it actually was, but I'm pretty sure that, Omonoia was probably the team that was in there in the first place, for the fact that you obviously announced everything and all that kind of stuff. So it could have just been, a load of rubbish. At the end of the day, it could have just been, just a bit of a delay tactic, or just waiting until the club officially announced the move instead of it being via an agency or whatever. So I'm not 100% clear on that. I've not sort of heard back from anyone regarding any information from that point of view. But he has been touted a lot just around the summer, obviously as a free agent, as someone with international pedigree, someone who's got a lot of European experience. I think Turkey. He has had some interest from Turkey back in January. That never worked out in the end, and I think he's had some other offers from Europe, but not exactly sure which particular leagues or clubs.
Okay. Now I don't know if you know the whole fiasco with Lamkelzee. Does that name ring a bell to you?
I think I've seen you. Mention it around.
So at the beginning of the week, the club announced that there was a player coming to Cyprus from Cameroon, right? And he's an Anderlecht player, and they made this post on Instagram saying that a verbal agreement has been made with Lamkelzee, Cameroon player, and okay, he's got bags of talent, and I was very excited about this move. And then he came to Cyprus on the Sunday. He was meant to go to the training facility on the Monday to have his medical and to cross the I's and dot the T's. He refused to show up. The club then went to see him at his hotel, and he said, "Oh, I've had an offer from Ferencvaros, and I'm going to go to Budapest." So he gets on a plane to go to Budapest. In the meantime, our club puts in a complaint to UEFA about the player and about Antwerp. I'm not sure why Antwerp were involved in that situation. Maybe because we agreed it with Antwerp and then they went with Ferencvaros. I don't know. Long and short of it is the player is not joining us. And it was a big fiasco because the club basically, as I said, put it on social media that he's coming to Cyprus, said, "Welcome, Lamkelzee. It's not going to happen now." And which is right at the bottom, you can see, "Welcome, Roman Bezus." And I said, "We hope," because we just don't know what's going to happen. He hasn't signed anything. We haven't seen, because usually when the club announces it, they do a video of the player in the offices. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. That's what we tend to do anyway as a club. But nothing has happened yet. So I'm thinking, well, there's possibly a chance that another club could come in for him. and that could
I see what you mean. No, yeah, because I was just reading on the translate on like the Instagram post, and it was like he's going to be joining us on Sunday or something. Like he's coming to finalize the deal. So, but I mean, I saw his agent that's overseeing it. He's already shared those posts of Omonoia sort of announcing him. So I mean, I assume it is.
I'm hoping it's done.
Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping it's done because there's a couple clubs in Cyprus that have got I don't want to use the words. Is Soviet the right word to use? I mean, because obviously you've got Europe and you've got the old Soviet Union, you've got Russian owners, you've got Ukrainian owners, you've got Latvian owners, you've got owners from Belarus and all that. We've got a couple of owners from that part of the world anyway. And it's like, part of me is praying that none of them kind of like get on the blower to his agent because they speak the same language. Come to us. Come to us for 5 minutes. We'll have a conversation. I don't know, man. I don't know. Stranger things are happening in football, man. You know how it works, Andrew. You know how it works. But yeah, well,
absolutely. Well, I mean, I mean, it just seems too written, especially that you're playing them Ghent in the Europa League playoffs.
Yeah.
If anything, that just makes even more of a coincidence, or like nailed on. So, fingers crossed.
It's absolutely
actually
bonkers.
is going to be sorted out.
It's bonkers, mate. Because I tell you what, our transfer activity this summer has been questionable. I think it'll be fair. That's the word to use. In fact, to be honest, our transfer activity for the past year has been quite questionable. But this summer, especially because we were expecting some pretty big names to come in. I don't want to say big, huge names out of the world, but big for Cyprus. You know, we brought in Barker, who was at Man City's academy, but he had to spell at Rangers and Hibs and Reading. He's come in a little bit underwhelming for many supporters. Then you had Matthews that came in from from Charlton. He had a spell at Sunderland, the Welsh international. Again, people in Cyprus didn't really know him too much. So, again, underwhelming. Blimey, Nemanja Militic, the centre-back from Partizan Belgrade. Fortunately, we know a little bit about him. One of our former strikers knows him well. So, we've got that Serbian link there. Who's the other signing that we made? Oh, Bruno Felipe, a Brazilian winger that came from Sheriff, who beat Real Madrid, and he was at Olympiacos in Greece. So again, in Cyprus, they know about the player. But to have a player from Ukraine and no one really knows too much about him coming in on a free transfer, people saying, oh, he's 31 years old. Why are we signing 31-year-old players? At 31, he's not at a bad age and he can still cut it, right? What level do you think what is his level? If you forget that he plays for Omonoia now, he's joining us. What would you say is his level?
I would say something along the lines of a Ghent type team. So, you know, a type, well, maybe not a title champion, but European chasing Belgian sides. Maybe you could cut it in one of those top 5 Netherlands teams, not Ajax or anything like that, but, you know, like an AZ was around those parts. Definitely would do a job in the likes of Ferencváros. But one of those teams that will be playing in the Europa League, maybe not going to be winning their groups or anything like that, but are going to be given good goes. So he's got loads of ability still. He just the last season at Ghent, he wasn't particularly playing too much from the start. Don't know what that was to do with. I wasn't following Ghent as closely as I usually do, just because Yaremchuk left and all that kind of stuff. But he had a relatively solid end to the season, played quite well, still got a few goals and assists in. And I'm sure that he'll be productive in Cyprus once this is finalised.
Fingers crossed. Look, not everyone is like that clown. So, yeah, see, Andrew, this is an ongoing joke with us Omonoia supporters. Everyone pelted this guy's Instagram with clown emojis and did photoshops with him dressed as a clown for letting us down. So, yeah.
What, the Anderlecht guy?
Yeah, the Antwerp. Right. Yeah, the Antwerp guy. Yeah. Well, the thing is, the warning signs were there for him. I mean, this is a guy that wanted to leave Antwerp, and he showed up in an Anderlecht shirt at training because he wanted to go. I mean, for crying out loud,
right. Yeah.
Here we go. Ghent offered him a new contract right now. Maro's taking the piss now. He's taking the fucking piss.
Actually read about that this week, or there was like or yesterday when I heard that he was finding a new club. Searched him up on Twitter just to see what was going on. And Ghent, loads of Ghent fans were like, give him another go, please. We need him. All our squad's injured and all that kind of stuff. Okay. But I've got a feeling that he's sort of set on a new club. And, you know, obviously with the fact that he is, I've been told that Ghent, he's not going back to Ghent. So
fair enough.
Cyprus it is.
Close that fucking airport. Oh, crikey. I hope the central midfield and the centre forward will be the same, if not better level. The most worrying thing for me is the lack of dependable cover for Bashu and Loizo. Bashu is just, look, Loizo is a right winger. So, you know, we've got Zahari and we've got other players coming in. But let's, guys, if you've got any questions for Andrew about the player, feel free to ask. I mean, you know, that's why I'm doing it for you guys, because you don't really know him too much. So, 32 in a month, you can't build okay, come on, man. Okay, he's going to be 32 in a month's time.
And it's only a 2-year deal as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's okay, he'll leave when he's 34 almost. But I think he will be productive.
Yeah.
He's got a good vision. He's maybe not the fastest or as fast as he used to be, but good at dribbling. He reminds me a bit of a Christian Eriksen. That's what I think you'll probably get from him. He's got a good eye for a pass, can score a few goals, and he'll be trying to work things in from from transitioning from midfield into attack. So I think he will be a good asset to the team for sure, especially as a starter, which I'm assuming he's being brought in for.
I'm relieved you said that, and the reason why is last night we played the friendly against AK Athens, and our number 10 is like 36, 37 years old, and we know that he can't play forever. But one of my concerns going forward was the space in between the two central midfielders and him as a number 10. He wasn't dropping deep enough to support the two central midfielders. But, if this player is, like you said, in terms of the Christian Eriksen style, like him to drop deep, that will help us in a big way. We've got two very, very good central midfielders.
He's one of those ones that sits back a bit, and then when the attack starts driving forward, he's either starting it or getting involved with the wingers and all that kind of stuff, and then sort of like holding around the box. And if needed, he can sort of take it on himself and try and bring it in and get a shot away or something. He's not a prolific goal scorer, but he has got a good finish on him, and I'm pretty certain he'll get a good decent amount of goals. Maybe not double figures, but he'll contribute for sure.
There's a question here. What about his physicality? Is he strong like an ox?
I mean, he's not like a brick house or anything, but he is. I'd say he's probably a similar frame to someone like Christian Eriksen. Okay. I was trying to think of a player that he is comparable to, and I think that is probably the best thing that I can come up with. So maybe he's not on a set piece speciality as good as Eriksen is, but still, I think he's got a good delivery on him. And yeah, I mean, he was called up in Ukraine's Euro 2020 squad last year. Didn't play too much, but the fact that he was in there and that he has been, in and amongst the squad over the past, decade, in spells, shows a good thing anyway, because especially under Shevchenko, we didn't really play much of a centre attacking midfielder as it was more like two box-to-box players with like Malinovsky and all that kind of stuff. So you're always going to have difficulty competing with that. Not sure whether we'll be getting many call-ups now, just under the new manager. He didn't really favour him since September last year, and he obviously Bezus wasn't playing as much as he probably wanted at Ghent. So we'll see how it goes, but he's got plenty of pedigree. So I think he's got a lot of experience to add to the team. That's one thing.
Can he beat the first man from a corner?
He actually gets a few headers in. As far as I'm aware, he's scored. He can not even when he's not taking them. He's good at deliveries, but I think he's also, as far as I'm aware, he's usually in the box, and he's got a few headers, few headed goals over the years. So, it depends how Lennon's going to utilise him.
Well, if he's an attacking midfielder that can beat the first man from a corner, I'm happy. For some reason, we haven't been able to do that for quite a while. Have I asked this question? Okay. He sounds as if he has the skills. What is general fitness levels? Any serious past injuries? And I think that the second question is very important for us, because when we signed Barker, we know that he's had a history of hammies. He's had 13 hammies over the years. So is this player injury prone? Is he?
He's not injury prone, but he does pick up a few niggles every season. I don't think he's out for like a substantial amount of time, but he does. He's a bit of he does take a bit of time out. I'm not entirely sure what his current sort of state is right now, but I think towards the end of the sort of campaign last year, he was pretty fit. He was just sort of coming off the bench and all that kind of stuff. The main thing will be obviously getting back to match fitness, because as I mentioned last season, he was mainly coming off the bench. Like I think out of his 26 games, he was like 17 of them was a sub. So he needs to get that, I don't know, 60 minutes under his belt regularly over the next few weeks once he joins and turns up to the squad. So that's the question, is like, how quickly will he be utilized? Will he go straight into the team, off the basis that he's not really had a pre-season and the likes, or will he be let in a bit more gently? So I think that'll be the main question at the moment. Brilliant.
What about his character? Is he a bit of a naughty boy? And again, this is another question.
No. If anything, he's I think he's a bit of a quiet chap. He's not. He's pretty reserved. He's got a family. He's got 3 kids. I don't think he's going to be any problems. He's not going to cause any problems. I think he had a good group of friends over there in Ghent, and he's gets in and around the team. But I wouldn't say he's like the most outspoken or loudest of characters in the side. So he'll be in and amongst there, and I think he'll make a lot of friends, but probably not captain material, if you want to put it like that.
Fair enough. If you want to talk about players from Ukraine, this is a weird one for me to ask, because we've got Serbian players and we've got Slovenian players, and I'm under the understanding that Slovenian, Slovakian, Hungarian, Serbian, these players get on very well, and we've had that at Omonoia. We have various cultures, various nationalities. So as a Ukrainian, what nationalities do you think will help him? What type of nationality footballer would help him bed in to the island? We're talking about a Serb, or we're talking about I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, because I mean he was at when he left Ukraine in like 2015-16, after he was at Dnipro, he joined St. Truden, which is also in Belgium.
In Belgium, yeah.
And he was there for like 2-3 seasons, and I mean he was just there on his own. And I mean they've got a lot of Africans, they've got a few Belgians, they've got some Japanese players in there, and he settled in quite well. He's like one of the best players in the team. That's why Ghent ended up buying him, because he was one of the leaders in the side. So I don't think he's one of those players that would necessarily need someone like that. And I mean, he can speak English fairly well, because obviously
he'll be fine then.
He's been away. He's been in Belgium, whatever, for like 5 or 6 years. So I don't think it should be too much of a problem from that perspective.
I just wonder if he'll be able to understand Lennon. I've spoken to a few of the Omonoia players, and even now they're still getting used to him. Let's have a look. Can he play at high intensity week in, week out at Europa League level? I think you kind of answered that earlier in terms of the standard that he can play in.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously Europa League isn't week in like every week, but I mean, yeah, he would certainly be putting the shifts in. And obviously he's got the experience of playing in there, and especially when he's at St. Truden, I think he had quite a productive European campaign in the Europa League. I know that, well, regardless of whether you guys end up Europa League or Conference League, he will certainly help add to what's going on with the team, with the dynamic, and I'm sure that he'll be wanting to sort of make a name for himself again and see if he can sneak back into that Ukraine team, if he's even got the slightest chance, kind of thing. Because you've got the likes of I don't know how the Ukraine national team manager necessarily views the Cypriot league. Sometimes the Ukraine national team managers only look at like Western Europe, you play for the top 2 teams or 3 teams in Ukraine, and then everything else is sort of like a backwater, because we just don't want to do it, just because that's the mentality. But I mean, if he's going to be playing in Europe, that's always a bonus, and I'm sure that he'll be, like I said, he'll be putting in the best efforts that he can in both the league and in Europe to try and make a bit of heads turning at UAF.
So what about the ability to cope with strong rivalries because we have a team that we don't get on with very, very well. And it's a very heated rivalry, as you can imagine. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of those in Ukraine, especially with Dynamo and Dynamo Kiev and Shakhtar. So in terms of being able to cope with the pressure and being heckled, because that's another thing that goes on quite a bit, you know, heckling. He could be at the beach, he could be, you know, and photograph, please. Can I have your shirt, please? That kind of stuff. They adore footballers out there, man. They treat them like kings, honestly.
No, I think that's fine. I mean, like I said, he's a well-known player in Ukraine. He's not been, you know, just over the past couple of years where he's not been sort of front and center of his side. He's not been in the headlines as often, but still, I think he's had the experience of that probably in Belgium and when he was in Ukraine, and you know, as a national team player, he knows a lot about that. So I'm sure he'll relish it. I'm sure he'll relish the opportunity of playing against the likes of that. And you know, he's not just coming for a holiday or anything. You've got a highly competitive league, you know, unpredictable at most parts, as I've been following you over the past few years. So
yes.
I think it will be interesting, and I think he will enjoy it. He seems like a bit of quite an intellectual player, just like, you know, likes reading and all that kind of stuff, art, and I don't know. So I'm sure he'll enjoy it.
That's a relief. That's a relief. Well, I've got a question from me. Obviously, there's loads of them here. Really likely to be on free kick and corner duties. That's something that we touched on previously. You can take a set piece, which is good.
Yeah, I don't know whether it'll be set on, but yeah, he can definitely attack through down the middle, and one-on-one, I think he's okay. Like I said, he's a good dribbler, but probably doesn't have the pace that he used to have.
Well, you mentioned that he's more effective on the counter attack, and that's something that we've kind of lacked, if that makes sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're, like I said yesterday, our main weakness was that we were a little bit impotent up front. We were getting past the halfway line, but we weren't really doing too much. And if he's a creative player, then that's fantastic. And if his final ball is as good as I think it is, then we'll be all right. The only concern I have, and maybe you can answer this because obviously I don't know the guy. We have two centre forwards. One of them is lightning quick, but he's still developing. He's only 20. We have another striker that is in his early 30s. I'm sure you've heard of him, Tim Matavs. He's not very mobile. Great holding the ball up, but he's not quick. He'll get in the box, but I don't know. Will there be a little clash there because he's going to be expecting to make runs and he's not going to be able to pick him out because Tim might be a bit too slow?
I'm not 100% sure, because I think the main thing that he's going to be doing is like playing off him. If he's going to be playing with like a more central target man kind of type, and if Matavs can hold the ball up kind of thing and sort of play it back to Bezus to try and maybe feed in the wingers or whatever to come into the box and get some finishes in, I think that's what he'll probably try and utilise. As for the more pacey forward, he played quite well when Yaremchuk, the other Ukrainian centre forward, played in Ghent. They sort of played quite well together. Yaremchuk's got a bit of, not as fast as probably this guy, but he's got a bit more pace than your average sort of 6'3" striker. And they had quite a good partnership when they were playing together. So I think he can adapt his game to what he needs to, because he's played with a lot of target men type footballers over his career. I think in St. Truiden, though, it was more of like a free flowing sort of set up over there, and he was sort of allowed to take a few more shots than he probably would regularly do or anything like that, and he was getting the rewards of that. So I think we'll see how it goes.
You had me at Ericsson when you said Christian. You similar to Christian Eriksen. My head just blew up. But again, it still might not happen. there's this new joke that we kind of came up with. There's a lad that works for Omonoia, and he usually gets a lot of photographs with the players, and whenever there's a goal, he's always celebrating with them. I don't know. He's not a ball boy, but he's always there holding a ball on the touchline. So I don't know what his job is, but he knows the players very, very well. And as I said, he gets photographs with them and all that. And my co-host Roy said the other day, unless a player is photographed with this lad, nothing is true. So there's a comment earlier saying unless this player is going to be with Rizvani, then forget it, it's not going to happen. So we're just waiting for Rizvani to have a photograph with the player, then we know it's done. We know the deal is done. But we've spoken about this lad, and I know that your Cypriot football knowledge isn't extensive, but there's another player from Ukraine who's at Apollon who won the league, Alexander Noyok, I believe his name is. I haven't seen him play that much. He joined in January, I think. How do you think? Have you heard anything about him? How he's getting on? Because as I said, I don't really know. They won the league, which I guess is a good thing, but I don't know how much he contributed to it. In all fairness, maybe the people in the chat can tell me what Noyok got up to last season.
I mean, he was an okay player back in the day. He had quite some decent performances with when he was playing in Belarus a few years ago, and then he moved to Russia, and he was just a bit of a knob. So I sort of lost my respect for him for doing that. And then when he moved to Cyprus, I've just like not giving a shit, because the fact that he moved to Russia in the first place is sort of like a red flag kind of thing. But yeah, like you said, he's like at the moment he's being all patriotic and all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of people have switched since the wars began, but you know, for some people it's quite genuine, and other people it's just like whatever. So I personally, I've not been fun. Well, there you go. Good to hear from that perspective.
Mario is a City fan in Larnaca, so his English is quite impressive, I must admit. But at 16 years old, he has the deepest voice you'll ever hear in your life. Like honestly, his balls dropped when he was about 5 years old. I'm telling you. But I can't really think of any other players from Ukraine in Cyprus at the moment. I don't think Buffalo have got any at the moment.
No, I think someone who's the Parry match team with the green kit.
Aris.
Aris. I think they might have signed someone, but I can't remember the name. Maybe I'm making that up, but I'm pretty sure
they signed a whole heap of players. When it's like it's like a revolving door in Cyprus of players. It's unbelievable because a lot of them signed 2-year contracts max. You know, Kudobiak. Who he's at what team is he at?
I don't know.
Is he at Paphos?
He was okay back in the day, but he's like super old, that guy. Like Hudobiak. I'm not gonna lie, just because there's not like much coverage in like Ukrainian media and stuff, I sort of drop off about Cyprus, other than when you guys are talking about it on socials.
That's right. I was there for the bloody fun. I remember that. Yeah, I was there, and I completely forgot. Fucking hell, yeah. But he's pretty decent. But Rudko, he was at Buffalo. Is he Ukrainian?
Yeah, and then obviously he's at Lech Poznan now. That's not the best start.
Okay.
Yeah, he was playing in their like either their Champions League qualifiers or something like that. Conceded like 5 in a game. 2 of them apparently were mistakes from him. But I mean, he's not the worst. I just think he's probably not got the biggest sort of talent pool that's probably going to make it big. And I think he's already been sort of dropped from European matches, so that's not the best from that perspective.
Ouch. But the moment Henning Berg got the Buffalo job, he was out the door. So yeah, I don't know about him. It is what it is. Well, Andrew, look, thank you so much for jumping on, mate. As I said, it was short notice, and I appreciate your help. And this is fantastic because a lot of people have been asking questions, and I hope it's settled a few nerves for a lot of fans. Because as I said, we were desperate for that number 10. We've been crying out for number 10 for 3 years now, if not longer. So we have a 10 now. We have a number 10. All we need now is a left back, a cover left back for Lesiak. We need a number 8 and we need a number 9. We definitely need a number 9. But look at Mario Zinchenko. He bleeds City blue. He's an Arsenal player now, mate. Get over it, yeah? Okay, I can just imagine him saying it. Zinchenko. Yeah, sorry, I had to do that. Lovely. Well, Andrew, before I let you go, would you like to tell our viewers where they can catch your podcast, your work, everything? I'll put it in the synopsis anyway, so people can click on your link and your Instagram and all that. So, but just tell them anyway.
Thanks for having me on, Stel. Good to talk, and I'm sure that hopefully once it's finalised, we'll be chatting a lot more during the season because I'm hoping that Bezus will have.
You've got another club to follow now, mate. You've got another club to follow.
Absolutely. Adding the star in Flash scoring as we speak. Yeah, so if anyone wants to sort of find out a bit more about Ukrainian football and Ukrainian players across Europe and everywhere else in the world, I've got my page, Zorya Londonsk, as you can see there. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, Telegram, and also I do a fairly regular Ukrainian football podcast in English that we started out with Stel back in the day. Now we're just called Ukraine plus sign football, so Ukraine plus football.
He leveled up and he fucked off.
So yeah, we just do regular pods about what's going on in the Ukrainian Premier League. So obviously this year is going to be extra unique with the war going on. They're planning that the league's going to restart in a couple of weeks' time. Not really much info coming out. It's going to be interesting. They're saying obviously behind closed doors, stadiums are going to have the bomb shelters and stuff are located within 500 meters of them. So if like an air raid goes off during the match, all the players come off the pitch straight into the bomb shelter, and then if it's not done within an hour, maybe the match will be cancelled, postponed, all this other kind of stuff. So it's actually all a bit mental. I'm also hearing some rumours literally just come out yesterday, that they're not going to be releasing the fixture list or anything like that. So that no one knows where the matches are going to be and all this kind of stuff. So that's all a bit precarious and just generally stupid, in my opinion, because they're going to be broadcasting the matches regardless. So you're going to find out where they are. It's just, in general, whatever. That's hopefully by the time it kicks off when they say in the 23rd of August, there should be some consensus on security and everything else that's been done. So yeah, we'll be covering that over the next few weeks. We also do interviews with different people in Ukrainian football and elsewhere. So yeah, do listen. We're all on all the regular podcast hosting platforms as well. So yeah, welcome anyone to come join, follow. And especially now I'll be having extra interest in the Cypriot League, especially with Bezus imminently being unveiled.
Lovely. Well, that's it, boys and girls. Govelia, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your NOUNA. Like I said, if you don't like this video, you're going to hell. That's it. I say this on every show now. If you do not like our videos, you watch them, but you don't click that like button. If you don't hit that like button, you're going to hell. It's that simple. Anyway, we've got a Dagari now, as we say. We've got our number 10, right? Should we be more patient with the transfers? No. Keep giving them heat because we need more signings. Otherwise, it's going to be another 7th place finish, and hopefully we win the Gibbon lot. But you know what? We're in Europe, so every rainbow has a pot of gold. Whatever it fucking means. For fuck's sake.